and I did that for 22 years. And I've helped a lot of people generate a lot of money, and I saved them a lot of money on their taxes. During 2011, something very significant happened to me. I came across an individual. I was ready to put $50,000 refund in his pocket, and to my surprise, this individual actually refused the refund. He was in a car accident. Previous accountants did not pick that up. When I offered to do the adjustments, he simply said to me, I don't want charity, I'm fine, I don't need hands out from the government. Immediately, I realized that this person has a limiting belief. So as a person with limiting belief, I really wanted to understand what the mind does, why we do the things we do, why we say the things we say. So I went and I trained as a hypnotist. And during my training as a hypnotist, what I've realized is that we operate in two ways. We are either in a survival mode, or we are in a thriving mode, or healing mode. Now, with the hypnosis, what I've realized is that nobody can change your past, nobody can change what happens to you. Our programming starts from the time that we are born up to the age of 7 or 8. What we do with hypnosis, we change the perspective of it. Working with clients, I realized that there are times when I wasn't able to understand their facial emotions, I wasn't able to connect to them on that deeper level, so I went and I trained as a body language expert. I did my research, I went and I found a company in Belgium that's called Center for Body Language. We are the only company that has video trainings in body language. I did so well in my testing with them. So what they've done, they reached out to me and they said, we want you to take the partnership and do the certification program for the entire of Canada. So that is exactly what I do now. I go and I train CEOs and business owners, learn body language and how to decode and interpret body language. I'm an author, a speaker. I was honored to appear on Business Talk Radio, Dynamo Entrepreneurs. I even contributed to the Age magazine in Toronto. And in February of this year, I was asked to analyze Charles Mason's, who was a criminal in the 90s. I was one of the body language experts to analyze his behavior when he did his 1992 parole interview. And what an experience that was for me to see what his behavior was. I've worked with people from all walks of life. I train small groups, bigger groups, and I also work one-on-one. What I do, I help you remove those limiting beliefs. Our programming will stay there. Whatever happens to you from childhood, it happens on the unconscious level. It can only be fixed on the unconscious level. So now, I want to ask you, how many of you here felt that someone was lying to you? Okay. So your intuition is probably right, simply because 2 in 3 people tell lies in a very short conversation. In fact, 91% of people lie regularly at work and at home. So now what I like to do is, I like to break down the nonverbal communication. So 93% of our communication is nonverbal, okay? So let's break that down. 55% is nonverbal. That means we communicate through our facial emotions, to our gesture, physical, and how we position ourselves. 38% is the intonation of our voice, and only 7% is the words that we speak. And yet, most of the time, how many of you here had any body language training, with the exception of behaviour and Heather, because they've already gone through my program? Anybody else? A little bit.
Very little, small, like within my corporation. There were some courses we could take for that, so, but it was minimal.
Minimal. So I can tell you that we tend to focus more on the words and ignore what the body is really communicating. And if you want to set your business up for success, you really need to understand what is that body telling you. You need to decode and interpret someone's behavior when they're standing right in front of you. In fact, I was just talking to Bill earlier, because I was observing you guys as you were talking, and I would say to her, okay, they are incongruents, they are incongruents, they are incongruents. So I want to break down this body language. How do we analyze body language? We are all about emotions. Everything we do is emotions. So when we analyze body language, we look at someone who is in their environment, in the present moment. They do not feel any stress or any tension. And that's what we call baseline. How are they behaving when they're not stressed and when there is no tension? And then we take a snapshot and we see, okay, maybe they clear their throat a couple of times, maybe, they do this, or, and we know, okay, this is their baseline, so we take a snapshot. Now, we all have emotions, so we can have positive emotions, we can also have negative emotions. So if I take, for example, Sam over there, and I say to Sam, Sam, what do you think about the iPhone, the new iPhone that just came up in the market? And Sam all of a sudden says to me, oh, Elena, I really love that phone. When it came out, I went and I bought it. And she starts to tell me this story, and I can see she's starting to smile. She's getting excited. I know that she's projecting a positive emotion, and she's comfortable talking to me that way. Now, what happens when a negative emotion comes up? What if I say to Sam, Sam, I heard that at your work, I'm just making this up, by the way. I heard that at your work, someone was saying that they saw you stealing something. And then I observe her body language. Now, when we experience a negative emotion, what happens is we are taking ourselves out of that comfort zone. So what happens, the limbic system, the reptilian brain, always seeks comfort. It's our survival zone. The moment it feels uncomfortable, it will rebel, and it will try to protect its territory. So when I tell her that and she doesn't feel comfortable, all of a sudden I may see her doing this, or I may see her turning away, the smile goes away, immediately I know, okay, I can see that she's not comfortable in that when I ask that question. Now, that doesn't mean that she's lying. We usually look for 4 or 5 clusters before we can determine whether that person is lying. She may be suppressing some emotions, but that's pretty much all, okay? Now, I mentioned microexpression. What are microexpressions? Microexpressions are the movements of the facial muscle that are half a second or shorter. They happen very, very fast, so we need to pay attention to them. They are not proof of lying, because we can't assume that everybody's lying. They are only a signal of an emotion, okay? So it tells us, okay, that person is feeling sad, or that person is feeling angry, or that person is feeling surprised. But they are reliable in detecting lies. So microexpressions were discovered by Charles Darwin. He worked with animals and humans, and he realized that both humans and animals shows them the exact same way. Then Haggard and Isaac took over in 1960, and they actually worked primarily with psychotherapists, videotaping their clients, and they realized that they were looking at the videos that they were taking to determine what were the expressions on the clients' faces, and they took that to a next level. And then Paul Hagman comes along. He has about a 50-year experience with microexpressions, and what he discovered was that microexpressions are universal. What does that mean? Every culture out there shows them the exact same way, okay? There's no difference. Now, Paul Hagman then, he created this facial action coding system, and this is what the FBI uses right now instead of their lying detectors. So now, there are 7 emotions and there are 26 variations. I don't have time here to go over them, but the 7 emotions are the happy emotion, the disgust, the contempt, the sadness, the anger, the surprise, and the sadness. Now, this doctor, Dr. Goldman, he worked primarily with couples, and he was helping them reconcile when they had a problem with their relationship. The emotion here on the left, here, this is disgust, and this is contempt. Now that looks like a smile, but it's really not a smile. What he came about was that he could tell within 10 minutes if those emotions were present during his consultation with the family, that marriage would fail immediately. There was no way that that marriage would reconcile. So how can body language training help you? Okay, so who can use it? Managers, directors, CEOs. They can better understand their leadership. They can avoid conflict. They can improve the relationship among them. Sales and professional body language will increase your sales by 20% once you master micro expressions. HR specialist. We want to hire the right employees for our business. I can tell you that between 16% and 69% people will lie on their resume, and between 60 and 69% they will lie at an interview. And of course, service providers, once you understand those micro expressions and you learn how to decode and interpret them, you will be able to build rapport, and within 5 minutes, you will understand who is a hot prospect for you. Okay? So now, let's break it a little bit more down. I want you to think about who are you trying to persuade on any given day. Okay? So if we think about it, it's almost everybody, because we really trying to have someone do something a little bit different so that we can connect with them. Now, whether it's your child, you're trying to get them to do their homework, or you're trying to get them to do something for you, whether it's a salesperson, you're trying to sell them a product or a service, or maybe you're trying to impress your significant other. But here's the challenge, and this is where body language is very important. Everybody has needs, desires, agendas, and secrets. Yes, we do have secrets, unfortunately. And what happens is we are stressed, busy, and overwhelmed, especially in today's society. So when we are stressed and overwhelmed, what does the brain do? It brings up barriers in order to cope with that stress, in order to cope with that too much, too quickly, too soon. So let's say you go to a meeting and you notice that someone is really projecting a negative emotion, and you know that once this mental barriers goes up, no matter how much you try to talk logic into that person, I can tell you that you will not be able to get through to them, okay? Simply because they're not in that decision-making mind. And body language will help you identify that. It will help you change your body language and your wording so you can shift that person from the fight-flight into a healing mode. Or you can simply say, I can feel, and I have done that many times. I've gone to meetings where I noticed the person is not projecting a positive emotion. I simply said, look, I can feel that, something is not right today, and it's perfectly okay for us to reschedule and come back. And I can tell you that the person will say, yes, that would be a good idea, because I've had this happen, and I was able to still salvage that client.
I recently just finished taking.
This is a testimonial from someone who went through the program.
1 second.
Yep, pause it. Can you pause it for a second?
I was able to identify.
Yeah, because I wanted to go through the speakers. I think maybe when I moved it, I didn't reconnect the speaker, maybe.
I think they can.
Sorry
Can
about
you
that.
guys hear it?
No, we won't be able to hear it from there, actually. Hang on. Oops. Sorry, I apologize, Elena.
No worries. Take your time.
All right.
Oh, we can skip through that.
Oh, it is on your side. Okay, that's weird how it's looking. Okay, so let's try it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work.
Okay. Is it hyperlinked? Oh, I see. Okay, wait. No, that's okay. Let me do it from here.
I recently just finished taking Elena's program around microexpressions, and as a result of that program, I was able to identify some facial nuances that I wouldn't have noticed before while I was.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't know why it's not going through.
It's okay.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. So she's basically saying that after she did my training, she went to a meeting. She was about to invest over $5,000. She noticed certain negative emotions on the individual's face. She did not invest. 2 weeks later, he comes back to her and says, I'm glad you didn't because I did and others did, and it was not a rightful investment. You could have lost all your money. So just by going through the training, she saved herself over $5,000. And now the clicker's moving.
Yeah, I know. Okay, try the clicker now.
Still doesn't. Oh, there we go.
But I gotta tell you, that you took my
Here, a
business
little bit.
through your training from 200,000 a year to almost 475 within 3 years. Amazing thing. I don't know how to thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so just a couple of testimonials of certain people that went through my training. Now, I'm going to ask you, what do you think, if someone was smuggling diamonds and they were going through customs, would they be smiling more or less? And Balbir, you cannot speak, Heather, you cannot speak because you've already gone through the training. Anybody else can give me an answer?
Smile more.
More? More? Actually, is less. They will smile more when they're being interrogated by the police, simply because they want to come across as being innocent. Is this a fake smile or a genuine smile?
Fake.
Fake. It is a fake, simply because these muscles here are not engaged. So usually an authentic smile would engage those ocular muscles. And she's also pressing the lips. As you can see, they're pressing of the lips. So she's trying to smile. Now, I'm going to give you some facts. Research shows that it's only 15% of your financial success that comes from your skills and knowledge, and 85% is from you being able to connect with people. Meaning, you really need to understand what that body is telling you. You need to decode and interpret those body language movements. And more than 82% of lies go undetected. Okay, that's huge, guys. Okay, I've got some stuff here for parents. If you have students, I can tell you that your child, especially mothers, they will lie to you. Okay, every 1 to 5 interactions you have with them. Managers, if you are in a managerial position, I can tell you that 1 in 5 employees are aware of fraud being happening in your company. And ladies, men typically tend to lie more than women. And no offense, guys, this is research. Okay, I'm just giving you research. More facts. So I'm gonna leave you with this. I want you to remember that every interactions you have, your body will always want to tell the truth. That means what you're feeling, your body will project. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed the presentation. If you have questions, I will be more than happy to answer them at the table, and thank you very much.